Hi there, my name is Anita and my channel is Sewing Yogi. So here I am after a long break. I can't even remember the last time I did a vlog. It's been a fair few weeks now. I can't remember, I didn't check to see when my last vlog was. But I'm back and hopefully I'm back to stay this time. I know I said that last time, but hopefully I'm back to stay this time. I had a lovely chat with my friend earlier and she is an amazing lady who is kind of like my soul sister, and she is a friend who, as soon as I talk to her on the phone or I'm with her face to face, I get an instant boost of energy and a general sense of healing almost. It's like she rejuvenates me, and I just needed that today, I think, to get this vlog filmed. I haven't been well. I don't know what's going on with my health this year. It's been a bit up and down. And so yeah, I've been not that great in myself. And of course, when you're not feeling very well, you don't want to sew. So I haven't done any sewing apart from this one thing that I'm wearing now. So this is what I'm going to talk about today, this one dress that I've made, and this was a project that I was doing for Minerva. So it was for the brand ambassadors project that they gave me, my first ever one. So I was really wanted to get this done and made, and then getting a bit ill didn't help me trying to get it finished. So every time I tried to get a bit done, my attention span was rubbish and I just couldn't seem to get it finished. But I finally got it finished, and I think I have got it done in the deadline. I think they said 2 months, so I think I've just got it in the 2 months. So yeah, anyway, back to my beautiful friend that I spoke to earlier. Thank you, friend, if you're watching this. You know who you are. She watches my vlogs, and she's an amazing lady. Thank you for giving me that boost I needed today. And so yeah, so straight on to my Minerva make, and it is the Betty dress by Sew Over It, and I have the old pattern that they had, well, the old one. They've now changed these, the different covers now on these patterns, but yeah, I've got the old-fashioned one, and I also purchased the add-on pack, which is just a PDF of the different necklines. So I haven't gone with the straight one, I've gone with the V-neck. So I've kind of really liked the V-neck version. I don't think I've seen many make this V-neck version, but as soon as I saw it, I really liked it. Because this is a dress I'm probably going to wear in the summer, just because of the colour of it and everything. And in the summer I get really hot, and that neckline where it goes across the top, the boat kind of neckline really, isn't it? I know I would be really boiling hot in that, and because it's a kind of cotton fabric, I don't tend to wear cotton that much because it makes me really hot. So I thought, if it's going to be in cotton, I've got to have something that's a bit more open and airy. So yeah, so that's what I've made for this fabric, and this fabric was an art gallery fabric that Minerva gifted me for the review of the fabric, and it's a beautiful fabric. So to begin with, it's beautiful buttery soft fabric, really smooth, and I'm really pleased that I chose it now. And although, and you'll see when I show you the dress, some of you may pick it up, some of you may not pick it up, so perhaps I shouldn't tell you. So I won't tell you what the kind of issue that I have seen or noticed as I was making it. But to be fair, I don't think it looks that bad, and I think sometimes rules that are set for these things should be broken. So anyway, I'm rambling and I'm not making any sense. So I'll show you the dress, and I shall stand back so you can see it. So yeah, here is the skirt. It's a huge skirt. I think this is a full circle skirt, I'm not sure. I don't know what constitutes as a full circle skirt. I think it is full, because you can see that's the half circle. So yeah, and it has the lovely V on the neckline, and then a V on the back here, you can see that, and then it has darts from the waist, and then darts on the side for the bust, which I've never done before. I've never done the 2 darts before, on the waist and on the bust, and then there's darts here on the back. It has an invisible zip, which is slightly visible because I used a kind of dark sort of peach coloured zip. I couldn't decide on what colour to do the zip. And then the skirt itself is about just below my knee. So you can just see there and see how big the skirt is and the way it moves. It's lovely. You can probably put some netting underneath this. I know that they have that on, I think, one of the pictures on their website, where you can put a netting underneath, but I haven't got any netting, so yeah. If I have anywhere extra special to go, I might purchase one. But yeah, I love it. I really, really love it. Really nice. Yeah, so finally got this made, and I did make a twirl to start with because I knew as it's a fitted bodice I'd need to make sure that it was my size, and I think I'd heard quite a few people saying about the shoulders being too large, and I know that my shoulders are much smaller than most, so I knew I'd have to probably do a small shoulder adjustment. And so I've taken this in by 2 centimetres off both sides, so 4 centimetres in total. And then I found that, I think originally I made an 8 on the top, an 8 to bust, and then 10 to the waist, which is what I would normally do. And then I found that the top half was just too big and the waist was huge, so it actually took it down into an 8 on the waist. But then I found that the arm here was too high for me, so the arm side was just sitting a bit too high and thought maybe stripped me slightly. So I just dropped that down by, I think it's by 1/2 inch. I just dropped the arm side down. And all I did there was literally just redrew it, so it came down lower. I didn't do anything fancy. There wasn't any fancy adjustment I did there. I just drew it slightly lower. And that worked fine. And then I had 3 inches off the total length of the skirt, because it's quite a long skirt for me. So I thought 3 inches is probably good, and it worked out perfect. I actually made the twirl with not taking anything off the bodice. I thought actually that's fine, I'm not going to adjust it or anything, so I left it as it was. But then when I came to making the actual dress, I found that the body's length was just a touch too long, so it was only slightly sitting a little bit lower than I wanted, and it didn't quite look right. It looked a little bit unflattering. So what I did was just took that off the bodice and the skirt. Once I'd stitched it together, I just took a little bit extra off, so I think I took off another centimetre, so it was a 2.5 centimetre seam allowance instead of a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance, and that worked out fine. And then I found that it's a bit of a strange one, but because I became a little bit ill. I've been ill for a while, but I got worse because I'd gone to see my GP, who prescribed some drugs for me, and I started to take the drugs and it wiped me out and they made me really ill. I'm never very good with taking any sort of medication anyway. They don't agree with me. So I felt really, really bad, really nauseous, couldn't eat for a few days, and then I lost some weight. Annoyingly, not if anywhere that I actually wanted to lose weight. It's never the way that works, these things. I lost weight off my chest here. So even though I'd done the twirl and then I started to make the garment, when it came to actually getting the garment on, so I put my zip in and everything, and it was too big. So all this around here was just massive and gaping, and I'd got loads of fabric around here on my back, and I knew I probably would anyway because of my sway back, but it was just too big. So first off, I just went with the zip and took that in another 1.5 centimetres off either side of the zip. So in total 3 centimetres, I had to take that back in. So I took 3 centimetres off here, and I've had to kind of curve it in slightly, which is what I always do anyway. Now it did make it look a bit weird on the back here, on the zip. It kind of puckered this up a little bit here, and the way that the skirt hangs, you can't really see that very well, so it's fine. And then I found that this was still quite big up here, and it's still just a little bit baggy. Again, why the gods have said, yeah, well, we'll take some weight off, but take it off the bits that you don't actually want the weight to go off. You can see it's slightly a bit big around here, even though I've taken this in a little bit more. So what I had to do was just literally sew in, lift up the facing on the inside and then sew in a little bit more here. And I've just curved it in very slightly. And I've only taken off a small amount because this weight will probably come back on me once I start eating again, once I start eating properly again. But for now, I'm just going to have this and leave it because I mean, I'm probably not going to wear it now till next summer anyway. So I don't want to mess with it too much. But it was a little bit upsetting, a little bit frustrating that, yeah, the weight's just come off on the wrong bits. So one of the things that you may have noticed, if you've got eagle eyes, you may not have noticed, but this is a directional print on this dress, on this fabric I should say. And in the pattern it does say not to use a directional print because of the way the skirt sits. So you may have noticed that my pattern goes off at a different angle to the bodice. Now, I kind of knew that this was going to happen, so it was kind of intentional. And I thought, you know what, I don't think it's going to make much difference. I don't think it's going to look that bad. I think because of the style of the pattern, it doesn't look that bad. I think maybe if it was a different fabric where it was a directional print where you could see it's really obvious. However, I just think sometimes with these rules that you're not meant to use a directional print for something, I just think that maybe they're a bit silly because why can you not do it? What difference does it make? Does it really look that bad? I don't think it does, in my opinion. I mean, you be the judge of what you think, but I don't think it looks that bad with this being slightly different on the skirt to the bodice. I quite like it. I like the fact that it looks different on the skirt to the bodice, but you know, everybody's different. So, you know, some may think it looks a bit odd, but I'm happy with the way it looks. Anyway, what other adjustments have I made on this? Let me just get a piece of paper down here that I've just thrown on the floor. I think that's about it. I think that's all I had to do with this. Yeah, and I've hemmed it. Now, again, when I made the dress, I hung it up. I could already tell that the skirt was just way off. The bottom, one end was longer than the other. I don't know whether that's because you do kind of cut the skirt on bias cut. And I didn't think that would affect that cotton so much, but it did. It was just way off all over the place. And I really, really dislike hemming. I don't know if anyone else is like this. I mean, my other one you know about, I don't like putting zips in. Go around the houses to get the zip in just to make sure it goes in properly. Well, I hate hemming. I really don't like hemming. So I put the dress on my mannequin and then left it for about a week. Just kept looking at it thinking, I don't want to hem that, I don't want to hem that, can't be bothered. So I'd seen a few people had purchased a chalk hem marker. I think it's called a hem puffer or something, chalk puffer. I can't remember the name of it. I don't know if it's actually officially called anything, but that's what I googled anyway. So I'd seen there was a couple of people that had bought these markers, and I think they get sort of you know, like reviews of they're not being very good, and then other people saying they are good. So I was umming and ahhing for a while about it, but then I'd seen on Hayley's YouTube channel, Hales Moore Sewing, I think it's called. She'd purchased one, and I remembered her buying it at the time, but then so I'd gone into her channel and scrolled through all her videos to see where it was, and then she has got a vlog on there specifically for the chalk marker. So I watched that one, and I'd obviously seen there's different ones you can buy. I think Prim do one, I think Hemline have got one, but I'd also seen this other one which is called Adjusto Form. I had gone straight to the website where you purchase it from, so Adjusto Form website basically. I looked on Amazon, and they're really expensive on Amazon, and I'd gone to a few other stores, online stores, and again they were like working out about £30, which I thought, that's a bit steep. It's a stick basically with a chalk puffer on it, so I didn't really want to spend loads of money on this stick with the chalk puffer in it. Anyway, so online on the Adjustoform website, it's £20 at the moment, which I think is quite good, and free delivery. It did take, I think, about a week, just under a week to arrive. So yeah, I purchased one of those. I'll go and grab it. I love this thing. So if you've not seen one before, you probably have seen them before, but it's basically a stand, like a tripod almost, with a tube on it with a puffer thing at the end. So you've got push it and you can squeeze that, and it puffs out chalk out of this line here, and then you put your chalk into here, and they give you a little packet of chalk when you buy the thing, and this can just be adjusted to whatever height you want it. So basically the rule is you just put it on the floor, put where you need your hemline to sit, and you sort of get quite close to it. You have to get quite close to it for the chalk to work. Now obviously with this fabric it was a little bit difficult to see the chalk line, but I managed it. So what I did was I just stood next to it, did one line, then I would put a pin where the line was, and then I did the same all the way around, because the chalk can wipe off. I think with other fabrics it may stay on a little bit more, but this particular fabric, it was a bit hard to see. So that's what I did. Anyway, I went around the whole of the dress with this chalk puffer, which is just, I think, the best thing ever. And it gave me a beautiful hemline that I just basically went round with my French ruler all the way around and lined up those lines. Now there were lines that was just slightly off, so what I did there was just used my French ruler to go around and line up the lines as best as possible. Then I just pinned it up and then just checked on it in the mirror before I cut anything off. And there were just a few bits that were just slightly off, and all I did really with the fabric is pulled it very gently. So as you're hemming, you're turning the fabric over. If you just pull the fabric very, very gently, it will do what it's supposed to do, if that makes sense. So fabric won't go in any shape that it doesn't want to go in. So I just went round all the way, just pulling it very gently, and it kind of straightens out itself, if that makes sense. And that's the way I did it. And it worked perfectly. And it is level as anything. I mean, by eye, it looks amazing. Whether it is, you know, if you measured it, it may be slightly out. But as far as I can see, and anyone else is going to be able to see, it's perfectly straight. So yeah, best buy ever, because I hate hemming. Think it's fabulous. I love it. So thank you, Hales. If you ever see my vlog, thank you, because it was just brilliant. I love it. So yeah, and that's about it. I think that's all I've got to say about this dress. Other than that, you know, I really love it. The fabric is amazing. The dress itself is beautiful. I'm going to make another, I think, with the higher neckline and maybe some sleeves on it, because you can do longer sleeves. I might make a winter version, but I'll see, because it is I'd say it's not a complicated pattern. I have been afraid of doing this pattern for such a long time, because I thought it would be quite involved and quite complicated. But in actual fact, it isn't. It's quite straightforward. I think it's just making the twirl first is important, so that you can get your darts in line. And if you do need to make any shoulder adjustments or any arm side adjustments, and just get the fit really nice. And it isn't that complicated, really, to be honest. You just have to go over each bit as you come to it, if that makes sense. So for me, I always check darts first and then move them around if they need moving. Then I'll go to the neckline and then I move the neckline if that needs adjusting. And then you just sort of just gauge everything else. So, you know, at the moment, I mean, I think it's because I'm sitting down. It's not sitting correctly. It's just puffed up a bit. There are some issues with the back of the V. Now with me, I've made another dress which had a V back and I had the same issue, but I've also had this issue with ready-to-wear garments that have a V neck, and it just very slightly pulls away from my body at certain angles. So if I'm standing in a certain way, that just puffs out slightly. It's almost like if I straightened up my back like I would normally, if I'm just standing normally, and I straighten my back quite a lot, it just comes away from my body very slightly. And if I allow my shoulders to round, then that goes. So I think perhaps it could be me and my shape. I don't really though, however, want to take any fabric out of these bits. I could slash through those and take fabric out in the pattern pieces, but then I'm afraid of having that feeling of being restricted and not being able to sort of move. So I'm just going to leave it as it is, and I don't think it's noticeable to anybody else, because obviously when you're moving around and walking or talking or whatever else you're doing, usually it's maybe even at a party I'm probably going to wear this. But yeah, I don't think anyone's going to notice. So I'm going to probably leave that and see how I get on with another version in a different fabric or something, maybe in the long sleeved and higher neck version. See if it does the same thing. But yeah, so that's about it. I think I can't think of anything else to say other than the instructions are really good on this pattern. On the old pattern, that is. I don't know what it looks like now. I don't know if they've changed it at all. But the instructions are really clear. It's really easy to follow. Much, much easier than I thought. I think I must have seen that Sew Over It did in the last, I think it was last summer, they did their sew along for the Betty dress. I'm convinced that the bodice was bagged out. Now that may have been that Lisa chose to do a bagged out version, but I thought it was bagged out, and that's why I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can be bothered to make this dress. But it isn't, it's just facing on the inside of this particular one. I don't know whether it's just because it's the V-neck, I'm not sure. But in the instructions of the normal one, I don't think it's bagged out. I think it's just facings. So yeah, I thought it was much easier than other patterns I've ever done that are similar to this. So I'd say give it a go. If you feel like you want to try this dress, just give it a go. Just make your twirl first of all. I didn't make the skirt a twirl, I just did the bodice itself as the twirl. Yeah, so I can't think of anything else to say about this dress other than it's amazing and I love it. I'm really pleased how it's turned out. I'm going to make another, and I will be back now that I am feeling a little bit better. Fingers crossed. I have had some tests done at the GP and I should get those results soon. I'm not sure that they're going to find anything, however. I don't know sometimes whether I have a belief that sometimes if our minds are not great, then our bodies aren't great either. It could be that my mind has been elsewhere and a bit distracted, and going back to work has really sort of messed me up a little bit. It's kind of like thrown me. This is one of the things I was discussing with my friend earlier, that the fact that I'm now back at work, it's kind of like thrown me out of kilter slightly. I am loving working again. I'm really loving being in my classes, but I think being out and about and the sort of the hustle and the bustle of it all again is thrown me. And then I don't know whether because of my mind isn't great, then that's made my body not great. Sometimes it can be that. And so I don't know whether the doctors are actually going to find out there's anything wrong with me. They may come back and say, you're fine, it's nothing serious. But yeah, so anyway, I'm back on track now, hopefully, and I will be back again soon with the things that I'm making. I am making some more stuff now, and I shall be back to show you what I've made in a week or two. Hopefully it won't be too long, now that I'm back onto my sewing and I've got my Sojo back. So yes, thank you for watching my vlog today, and if you did like it, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, then please do subscribe, because I am going to be putting more stuff up. I promise. I am going to be putting more vlogs up about what I make. And I also just want to say thanks to all the people that have commented on my vlogs. I love seeing people's comments. It gives me a real sense of being part of something, like a real community. And I love responding to people, so I do try and get back to everybody. And if I don't see your message, then I'm really, really sorry. But yeah, thank you for that, because it really does help me to feel I belong. Does that make sense? Does that sound a bit weird and a bit sad? But you know, like, I feel like there is a real sense of community in the sewing world. And yeah, so I'm really grateful for all the comments I get. Really love it. Thank you. And yeah, so I shall see you next time, everyone. And I really hope that you're all well and you're doing okay. And I am sorry that I've been away for a bit. And yeah, just take care of yourselves. And as always, I'm sending you all love and light, and see you next time. Bye. you.